Johnson has been with the chapter from the beginning. He was the first executive director of NSA, and he's done so much for the organization. So I'm going to cut to the chase and just say that what we're going to be doing today is awarding to Bill a lifetime membership in NSA Arizona. And to talk more about the contributions that Bill has made, Don Thorne's going to share some thoughts with us.
All right. Who's getting the award? Ed, are you getting the award? John, is it you or me? Or Bill Johnson's getting it? Oh yeah, Bill's going to get it. You know, this is a chapter decision, and as you heard Alan say, the chapter board voted and decided to award him this award. They did ask some of us old-timers how we felt about it. Would we support it?
The vote was 4-5.
And we chose to support Bill 7-5. You can believe he has our total and complete support. NSA was founded by a visionary, Cabot Robert. Many of you have heard that name. Some of you are fortunate enough to have actually met him and spent time with him. It's also true that for every visionary, there has to be someone who handles the nuts and bolts of an organization and provides it the structure and the stability to survive those early visionary years. For NSA, that man was Bill Johnson. We had volunteers trying to help us as we formed NSA and trying to figure out what it was we were going to be when we grew up. But finally, the volunteers were kind of dropping off like flies. And we said, we have to get somebody professional on a full-time basis. We checked all our resources. We went to Bill Johnson and said, would you do it for $400 a month? And by the way, you'll have to have the national headquarters in a bedroom of your house. And your wife and children will have to be contract employees to you in order to get this job done. And Bill did. And through the many years that he's been involved with NSA, he has been that glue that has helped people with great vision come together with structure and programs to survive and thrive as this organization has grown. Now, Bill has also been a contributor to our industry. I was kind of amazed the other day. I came across a magazine called The American Salesman, and this issue was written in January of 1974. And as I looked on the front, I saw Bill Johnson's name. And I said, Johnson have an article in this? And I opened to the center of the book. Centerfold. Centerfold. 1974, Bill Johnson, cassette begins decade 2. Now this was especially exciting to me to know that the cassette was going to be the future, because Cabot Robert just 2 years prior to that had conned me into producing a 33 1/3 record. I still have some. They're for sale on the website. Bill talks about the cassette, and no one brought cassettes to the speaking business like Bill Johnson did. And luckily some other people continue to bring them to our speaking industry. Today, many of you know Bill teaches speech classes. His website offers all kinds of speaking tools. He's continued this contribution to our industry with new microphones and new projectors and all kinds of new technology. A man who has truly dedicated his life to serving our industry, and your very first ever Arizona chapter life member achiever of the world, Bill Johnson.
Thanks to all of you. Can you imagine that Don Thorin, younger than me, I was shaving this morning and I realized he's been in NSA over half of his life. Between us, we have 68 years membership here. Well, in 1973, in a flash, my life changed. I'm sitting at my desk at our little company on West Phoenix, 22nd Avenue at McDowell, and here bounding in comes this giant extrovert. Hey, Bill, I'm Cabot, Robert. Got to have you join our association we're about to form. It's going to only cost you $40. And I said, Cabot, good to meet you. I've heard a lot about you, but I'm not a speaker. He said, oh, it doesn't matter. He told bellboys they should be a speaker. Cabot said, oh, you'll just be one of our other members like our guy John Hammond, who's a rally producer, and on and on. And I gave him a check for $40. He said, oh, by the way, that's your initiation, and I'm going to waive your first year's dues. In 1975, my life changed again. We had the first National Speakers Convention. John was there. Don Thorne were there. We're the only three in the room that were there for that. Now listen to this, you women. There were 62 at the convention, 59 men. And I can still name the 3 women.
So can I.
Yeah. There's a lot of sharing going on there. The word kind of got around all over America, and about 5 years later, half the convention were women looking for that sharing. Well, it was incredible. And Cabot's only mission, his mission was let's win through OPE, he called it, other people's experiences. Let's share with each other. Let's help each other decide how to take this new industry that's starting. And at that time, Hammond and Thorin will tell you, there were probably only 12 speakers in the nation at that time. I mean, it really made a living, quote, on the circuit. Now, I think there was 2 years that Cabot spoke to over 100,000 people. In about 1978 or 9, he showed me his calendar for the year, and he had 252 speaking days. And the fee of all the speakers at that time was about $200. And they most all raised their fee to about $400, and Cabot stayed at $200, and they were all mad at him. But Cabot had started selling cassettes, and boy, was he selling cassettes. And wrote a book, and he was bundling. The first bundling. I think that's where Bill Gates got the idea. But the thing progressed, and I saw his dream realized. And as it is today, over 500 people in this country I consider my best friends. Because my best friends are in this room and in NSA, all over the nation. This wonderful career. Let me just ask a question. How many of you, first let me ask this question. No, I'll start with this question. How many of you are under 60 years of age? Raise your hand if you are under 60. All right. How many of you would like to be a successful speaker that are under 60? Cabot was 60 years old when he gave his first paid speech. So there is hope for all of us except me. I was starting to send John Hammond a note because John has known Cabot and his wife Trudy knew them longer than any of us, and they've been on the Jillian cruises together. And I was going to
slip a note to John and say, how many people do you think Cabot maybe spoke to in his life? Because I know there was a 2-year period of the big rallies that he spoke to over 100,000 in those 2 years. He was an amazing man, amazing icon. But he's what it's all about, because it was all about helping each other and sharing, and that's what this is about. Helping each other, not competing. There was a famous statement Cabot made that said, we're not in here to share the pie. We're in here to build a bigger pie. And a big name speaker who I won't mention said, Cabot, why on earth would you do that? That's like a bunch of mice building a cat. Thank you, Andre, you finally caught up. You've honored me so much. And those of you who, oh, may I see a show of hands? How many did not ever see Cabot Robert? Wow. Woo! Now I really feel old. Okay, everyone that's never seen Cabot Robert, I have a great CD of Cabot Robert, an interview, 1974, about the beginning of his say. Just give me your card or email bill@billjohnson.com, and you will get the CD of a great interview with Cabot Robert, 1975 or 6. It'll be on. Now, I do understand there were no CDs then, Alan. You see, I took them off of a cassette. And that particular interview, many of you members know we have our VOE. How many of you know what VOE is in NSA? That started out as a little program we call Cassette a Month, where every member in the country got a cassette every month. And the first cassette was this interview with our founder, Cabot Robert. Thanks a million to all of you.